Last week, the FAA added more temporary drone bans in New York and New Jersey as officials continue to investigate these mysterious sightings.
Belgium UFO sighting. A man was driving to Belgium late at night when something strange caught his eye. Hovering just above the road was a massive UFO, so close and enormous that he immediately stopped his car. Shocked and curious, he grabbed his phone and started recording. The footage shows a huge unidentified flying object, covered in bright lights pulsing in different directions. The lights weren't just glowing. They looked like they were scanning the area. As he recorded, the man began explaining what he was seeing. His voice sounded both excited and nervous. But before he could finish, the UFO released a sudden burst of energy. Strange waves rippled through the air. The man collapsed to the ground, losing consciousness. His phone was damaged, but the recording somehow survived. Later, the video was uploaded to YouTube and quickly went viral. People were stunned by how real and unedited it looked. You can clearly see the size, shape, and lights of the UFO, and even hear the man's reaction before he passed out. Despite thousands of theories, no one has been able to explain what really happened that night. The footage remains one of the most talked about UFO clips on the internet. Number 2. The USS Nimttz encounter. In 2004, fighter pilots from the USS Nimttz carrier strike group were conducting training exercises about 100 miles off the coast of San Diego. That's when the USS Princeton, a guided missile cruiser in the group, picked up strange radar signals. The radar showed objects dropping from 80,000 feet to near sea level in a matter of seconds. Thinking the system was faulty, radar techs rebooted it, only to get the same readings again. The signals were real. FA-18 pilots David Fravor and Alex Dietrich were redirected to investigate. When they reached the location, they spotted a large churning disturbance in the ocean, as if something massive was submerged. Hovering above it was a smooth, white, oblong-shaped craft, about 40 feet long, with no visible markings, wings, or exhaust. Fravor described it as a tic-tac, due to its appearance. The object mirrored the jet's movements and then accelerated instantly, vanishing from sight. Back on the ship, radar operators confirmed that the object reappeared 60 miles away in less than a minute, a speed no known aircraft could achieve. The pilots were stunned, and even years later, Fravor remains convinced it wasn't man-made. In 2017, the footage was leaked and later confirmed by the Pentagon. Despite investigations, the origin of the object is still unknown, and this encounter is often considered one of the most credible UFO cases ever recorded. Number 3. The Phoenix Lights. On the evening of March 13, 1997, thousands of people across Arizona and Nevada reported seeing a massive V-shaped formation of lights silently move across the sky. The lights first appeared around 7:30 p.m. near Henderson, Nevada, and slowly made their way southeast toward Phoenix. Witnesses included civilians, police officers, and even former military personnel. Many said the lights were attached to a large, dark structure that blocked out stars as it passed overhead. The most commonly reported sighting involved 5 lights arranged in a boomerang or V-shape, hovering silently and moving slowly across the city. Some people said it was as large as several football fields. Unlike aircraft, it made no noise and didn't behave like anything people were used to seeing in the sky. The military later claimed the lights were flares dropped by A-10 Warthogs during a training exercise. But many witnesses rejected that explanation, pointing out that flares don't move in formation or stay perfectly spaced. Then Governor Fife Symington even held a press conference to joke about the incident, only to admit years later that he had seen the lights himself and believed it was a real craft of unknown origin. To this day, the Phoenix Lights remain one of the most widely seen and hotly debated UFO sightings in history. Even decades later, people are still trying to make sense of what they saw that night. Number 4. The Rendlessham Forest Incident. Just after Christmas in 1980, strange lights were seen descending into Rendlessham Forest, near the RAF Woodbridge and RAF Bentwaters military bases in Suffolk, England. These bases were used by the United States Air Force at the time. Over a span of 3 nights, multiple U.S. Air Force personnel reported seeing glowing objects, flashing lights, and strange physical evidence in the forest. On the first night, 2 security patrolmen followed the lights into the woods and claimed to see a metallic object with strange markings. As they approached, the object allegedly moved through the trees and then shot into the air. The following night, Deputy Base Commander Charles Halt led a group of men back into the forest with radiation detectors and audio recorders. They recorded strange readings, saw a glowing red light that split into multiple objects, and watched one beam shoot down directly into the weapons storage area. The audio recordings from that night still exist, and several of the men involved have gone on record about what they saw. Although the British Ministry of Defence said the event posed no threat and needed no further investigation, many involved strongly disagreed. The Rendlessham case is sometimes called Britain's Roswell because of the number of credible witnesses and physical evidence reported. To this day, no solid explanation has been confirmed. Some believe it was a downed aircraft, a lighthouse, or even a hoax, while others are convinced it was an encounter with something not from this earth. Number 5. The Gorman Dog Fight. In 1948, Lieutenant George Gorman, a pilot in the North Dakota Air National Guard, was flying a P-51 Mustang over Fargo during a routine patrol. It was a clear night, and as he approached the city, he noticed a glowing white orb flying in the sky. Curious, he decided to investigate. What followed was a 27-minute aerial dogfight between Gorman and the mysterious object. He said the orb was about 6 to 8 inches in diameter, bright white, and moved much faster than any aircraft he had ever seen. When he tried to close in, the object would instantly change direction, rise rapidly, or dive at impossible speeds. At one point, it even charged directly at his aircraft before veering off at the last second. Gorman reported that the object had no visible means of propulsion and made no sound. He was a skilled pilot, but he couldn't keep up with it. Eventually, low on fuel, he was forced to return to base. After the incident, the Air Force investigated. They ruled out weather balloons, other aircraft, and atmospheric phenomena. Radiation tests on Gorman's plane showed higher than normal readings, which added to the mystery. While skeptics have offered other theories over the years, Gorman stood by his account until his death. He was convinced the object was under intelligent control. This early encounter became one of the first documented dogfights with a UFO and helped push the U.S. military to take sightings more seriously in the years that followed. Number 6. The Tehran UFO Incident. In 1976, residents of Tehran reported seeing a bright object in the sky late at night. It was large, glowing, and didn't behave like a plane or star. The Iranian Air Force scrambled an F-4 Phantom jet to intercept it. As the pilot got close, the jet's instruments started failing. Communications, weapons systems, and navigation all went dead. The pilot had to retreat, and once he did, the systems came back online. A second jet was sent. This time, the pilot tried to lock on with a missile, but again, the systems malfunctioned just as he was preparing to fire. The object reportedly released smaller orbs that maneuvered around the jets. One of the orbs even followed the second jet as it returned to base, only to suddenly disappear. The Iranian military recorded the event in detail and even the U.S. Defense Intelligence Agency took notice. A classified report described it as a classic case, with multiple credible witnesses, radar confirmation, and electronic interference. Years later, the CIA and U.S. Air Force declassified their reports, confirming the seriousness with which they viewed the incident. No country claimed ownership of the craft, and the advanced behavior of the object remains unexplained. Many believe this is one of the best documented military UFO encounters ever, especially because of the radar and electrical interference, which are not typical in mistaken identity cases like stars or commercial aircraft. Number 7. The Westall UFO sighting. Around 11 a.m. on April 6, 1966, over 200 students and teachers at Westall High School in Melbourne looked up to see a large, silver, disc-shaped object hovering in the sky. Witnesses said the object flew low over the school, hovered for a short time, and then descended behind a group of pine trees near an open field. Dozens of students ran toward the area, and some said they saw the object sitting silently on the ground. After about 20 minutes, the craft reportedly rose back into the sky and flew off at high speed. Soon after, military trucks and men in uniforms appeared, sealed off the area, and told students and staff not to talk about what they had seen. Many of those students and teachers have maintained their story for decades. Some said the military threatened them, while others claimed school officials tried to erase any evidence of what happened. No photos were ever released, but a few people claimed they had taken some before being forced to hand over their cameras. The Australian government never issued a formal explanation. While some skeptics have suggested a weather balloon or secret aircraft test, the number of witnesses and the clear daytime conditions make this case difficult to dismiss. It remains one of the largest mass sightings in Australia's history and is still widely discussed today. The Japan Airlines Flight 1628 encounter. Captain Kenju Terauchi was flying Japan Airlines Flight 1628, a cargo flight from Paris to Tokyo, when something unusual appeared in the sky over Alaska. Around 5 p.m., the crew noticed two glowing objects flying off the left side of their Boeing 747. The lights followed them for several minutes, sometimes moving in close and then pulling away. Then, a much larger object appeared. Terauchi described it as a giant, walnut-shaped craft that was at least twice the size of an aircraft carrier. It stayed with the plane for over 30 minutes, changing positions and even appearing on radar screens at the Anchorage Air Traffic Control Center. The pilot requested a change in altitude and direction, which was granted, but the object continued to follow. Eventually, it vanished from both radar and visual range. When the plane landed, Terauchi filed a detailed report and went public with his story. He was later removed from flying duties, although no official reason was ever given. The Federal Aviation Administration conducted an investigation and confirmed that radar had picked up something that matched the pilot's description. While no formal conclusion was ever reached, the case gained a lot of attention because of the credibility of the pilot and the radar evidence. Many believe this incident proves that commercial and military pilots have been seeing unexplained aerial objects for decades. Number 9. The Chicago OHare Airport Incident. In the early afternoon at Chicago's OHare International Airport, several United Airlines employees, including pilots, baggage handlers, and supervisors, spotted a dark, disc-shaped object hovering silently above Gate C-17. The sighting lasted for several minutes, and multiple people reported seeing the object just below the cloud cover. Witnesses said the object was perfectly still, made no noise, and had a smooth, metallic surface. Suddenly, it shot upward through the clouds at such high speed that it punched a visible hole in the overcast sky. The hole slowly closed, but many witnesses say they clearly saw it with their own eyes. The Federal Aviation Administration at first denied the incident happened. Later, after pressure from reporters, the FAA admitted they had received reports, but dismissed them as a weather phenomenon. However, many of the employees who saw the object weren't satisfied with that explanation. Some were visibly shaken, saying they had never seen anything behave that way, especially so close to a busy airport. Despite being in restricted airspace, the object was not picked up on radar. That made some people wonder whether it was using advanced technology or some kind of stealth system. The incident remains unexplained, and the FAA never opened a full investigation. It's still one of the most baffling and widely witnessed UFO sightings to occur at a major U.S. airport. Number 10. The Belgian UFO Wave. Starting in late 1989, Belgium experienced a wave of UFO sightings that lasted for several months. Most of the sightings happened at night and involved large, triangular-shaped objects with bright lights. These objects were often silent and moved in ways that didn't match any known aircraft. On March 30, 1990, the Belgian Air Force scrambled 2 F-16 fighter jets to intercept one of the objects. The UFO was being tracked on radar from both the ground and the jets. Each time the pilots locked onto it, the object would rapidly change altitude and direction, sometimes dropping thousands of feet in seconds or accelerating too fast to follow. Over 13,500 people reportedly witnessed the events, and over 2,000 written statements were collected. Some sightings were also captured in photographs, though their authenticity has been debated. Unlike in many countries, the Belgian military was open about the incident. They even cooperated with a civilian UFO research group to investigate. Despite extensive radar data, pilot testimony, and visual sightings, no solid explanation was ever given. The military ruled out weather balloons, aircraft, and natural phenomena. The incident remains one of the most credible mass UFO sightings in Europe, with both civilian and military cooperation adding weight to the case. Number 11. The Shag Harbor Incident. Just after 11 p.m. on October 4, 1967, residents of Shag Harbor saw a glowing object streak across the sky before crashing into the ocean. Witnesses described a low-flying object with flashing lights that descended at an angle and appeared to crash on the water's surface, about 300 meters offshore. Multiple people, including RCMP officers, reported the incident. The Coast Guard and local fishermen quickly went out in boats, expecting to find a plane crash or debris. But when they reached the site, there was only a glowing yellow foam on the water. No wreckage, no bodies, and no sign of a crash. Over the next few days, Canadian military divers conducted a thorough underwater search. They found nothing. No missing aircraft were reported in the area, and no country claimed responsibility. Internal government documents later revealed that officials had taken the case seriously and couldn't explain what the object was. Some people believe the object may have moved underwater to a new location. Years later, rumors surfaced that 2 unidentified objects were tracked moving underwater by the military and possibly escaped into the Gulf of Maine. These details were never confirmed. The Shag Harbor incident stands out because of the immediate response by law enforcement, civilian witnesses, and the military, all of whom took the crash seriously. It remains one of Canada's best documented and most mysterious UFO cases. Number 12. Uinta Mountain UFO. A UFO was recently captured on video hovering above the Uinta Mountains in the United States. The object appeared to be stationary in the sky, positioned between 2 mountain peaks. It didn't move or make any sound, almost as if it was watching the area below. The person recording zoomed in to give a clearer view of the strange object. In the background, you can hear people talking and reacting, which shows that many had gathered to witness the event in person. Their voices add a sense of urgency and surprise to the scene. The video quickly spread online and sparked a lot of debate. Some viewers believe it was a genuine UFO, while others suggest it might have been a drone or some kind of military aircraft. However, no official explanation has been given. Despite the video's popularity, the origin and purpose of the object remain unknown. People continue to share the footage and discuss what they saw, but no one has come forward with a solid answer. For now, it's just another unexplained event in the long list of UFO sightings linked to the Uinta Mountains, a place already known for strange activity. So, what are your thoughts on these sightings? Let us know in the comments below and subscribe to our channel for more content.